Good evening, everyone. So tonight I am going to finally, here, hold on, let me get my little cute pamphlet. Try out my fancy sampler from Brambleberry, which is the Heartfelt collection. They did not send this to me. I am not that cool. I wish I was that cool, but I'm not that cool. I bought this on my own because it's all scents that I really thought I would like, and I am not wrong. So the first we're starting off with is this one here, which is Love Letter. So if you are new to the channel, you've never seen my doodles, I am sorry in advance because they're hideous, but here are my doodles. So this is going to be our plan here. So I got these cool little extruder lips, which look like this. Aren't they very cute and very toot? And then I also have little X's and O's, which are also extruded. I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, you can. Which I got from Lisa at I Dream in Soap. The lips were a special request by a mutual friend of ours, and she was nice enough to give me some as well. So for our Love Letter design, I'm only testing a pound each. So you're going to see me mix the main soap. I'm going to measure it off to the side, and then we are going to pound through all of these designs real quick, hopefully. So we'll see how this works. I might be regretting my life choices. Supposedly a lot of these accelerate. I have everything laid out, so I should be able to knock it all out. But we'll see. And I am using, this is the Brambleberry little cube mold that I got from them, which I really like quite a bit. I've actually quite a few of these. So we will, we'll see how this works for me. So let's make some soap. All right, so first things first, let's add our lye. So when I calculated this out for a pound each, that makes roughly 0.80 I measured to a fragrance. Just get this scooped out for each of these for a pound each. So that will leave me a little bit of leftover batter, which is fine. I have plans for it, like I always do. But hopefully we'll see how these behave. I've never, this is really horrible. I can't believe I'm about to admit this on the TVs, on the video, but you guys know what I mean. I don't usually test a lot of my fragrances. My testing tends to be, let's pour it in the mold right before I use it and see what happens. I've regretted this several times, but that's how I usually do it. That was my goat milk going in, by the way. Again, if you're new, that was my lye solution first, which is distilled water, raw silk, and powdered sugar. And then after that goes in, the next thing that goes in is the goat milk, which I do as a percentage of the water. So I'm not going to stick blend a whole bunch. I'm going to stick blend just like 1 or 2 buzzes. And the main reason for that is because I need to get through 4 batches. And most of these are pretty simple designs. This first one's actually the most complicated. But it shouldn't be too hard. I just want to make sure it's emulsified. So just kind of stirring. So I'm going to give it a couple quick buzzes. And I'm not sure if you can see, like you can actually see when it starts to actually emulsify. It turns a lighter color, which is why it's nice to do this where you have decent light. Okay, that's about as much as I am doing. Might have been too much, actually. This recipe is one of mine. It started off initially as one that I got from B at Sorcery Soaps books many moons ago. I wish I had not been so stubborn and I had bought a recipe sooner. I just was convinced that I was going to do them all myself. And yeah, that was dumb. I should have just bought one. Anyway, so I bought that recipe, and after I bought it, what I ended up doing was modifying it quite a bit to change. I added lanolin because I like lanolin in soap, and then I changed some of the other factors in it to kind of suit my needs more. But the base, the heart of it started at Sorcery Soap. So hold on a second. I'm going to come off screen real quick and go pour a pound of this. And I know my camera doesn't hear me very well, so I'm sorry in advance. Okay, and 16. And while I'm pouring this, I'm going to go ahead and pour my other ones real quick, just so they're measured out, because like I said, once we get going, we're going to be in a hurry. And I don't want to be doing this and then make the classic discovery of like, oh, Dios mio, it is now solid soap. Because I don't think any soap maker likes to make that discovery. And my recipe isn't a super fast moving one, but it does, you know, it does have a lot of the hard butters in there. It's very heavy in shea butter. And also has cocoa butter in it. And again, the lanolin, which is a liquid wax. And if you've not used it before in soap, I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people kind of get a little squicked out because it's kind of gross to handle. All right, here's all of our 4 pounds. The rest of this we're going to put off to the side for right now. But it's nice. It's really nice in soap. It makes a huge difference, I think, at least. So now that we have these guys, I'm going to put these off to the side over here. And we're going to focus on this one. So this one is Love Letter. Our notes from Brambleberry says it behaves well in cold process and it goes to an off-white. Well, I kind of want this letter to be white. I don't want it off-white, so I've got a little bit of titanium dioxide here. And we're going to go ahead and add that in first. And I'm adding the titanium dioxide in first. My recipe is pretty yellow, again, because of all the shea butter and everything else that I use. So I want to make sure I kind of have it at the white I want before I add the fragrance. Because even though it says it behaves well, you just never know. And that's why you should test. One of my most wonderful, dearest, treasured friends, her name is Lisa, and she is from I Dream in Soap, which I mentioned earlier with the extruder discs. She does a lot of really great testing, and I probably should be more like her when I grow up. But it's probably not going to happen because I'm lazy. But don't be like me. You know, Brambleberry makes these cute little test kits, and they're great for testing. I actually don't always like buying these test kits because it's such a small amount that I tend to try to just go for it, right? I make batches and like, you know, I make a 5-pound batch of it. That's my test. And that's a terrible idea. I do not recommend that. So there's our fragrance going in. Again, this is the Love Letter one, which smells, all of these smell really good. Like you know, like when you buy, it's the only reason I don't like buying little fragrance collections sometimes, because like, you'll end up having like 1 or 2 that you really, really like. And then like the other one's like, it's okay. All of these I really like. They all smell really good. So we're just going to start here at the top. And I want to fill these mostly up because we're going to put some embeds in them to make the cute love letter. So here, I might get 1 more out of it. Oh, 2 more, look at that. Or maybe I should put this in. What do I want to do? I want to save it and see if I can get this to lay flat and fill some more in. Let's just put it in here. I don't want to, I'll end up confusing myself later. So, which is not hard to do, I'm afraid. I'm a busy lady. I get confused easily. What can I say? I'd love to pretend like I see some soap makers and they're like so precise and elegant and they've got it all together. And oh boy, not it. Not me. I wish. I don't know that girl. I wish I knew that girl. Okay, so now we're just gonna, all I've done is I've taken some soap dough and I've just kind of made it scribbled. So it looks like our little scribbles here. So we are just, oh, and apparently I put some soap. So we're just gonna put our little critters in there. Hold on, let me get my appropriately sized tweezers. And if appropriately sized tweezers makes no sense to you, I suggest strongly you go back through my videos and look at some of the old ones, because I had an experience Amazon priming when I was very tired, and yeah, I bought very much inappropriately sized tweezers. So, like so. That's going to be our writing. Now we're going to put in our little smooch. And I will end up beveling these down a little bit, so I don't mind if they stick up a little. And here's our little X. Sticking out a lot though. Maybe I want to cut that down. I mean, it's in there now. Oh. Let's roll with it, but I will cut this one down. I think I initially planned for this to not be, I wanted to fill it all the way to the top, but I wasn't sure how much it would fill and how much my embeds would displace. So here is our little O. So what we'll do is we'll let that set and then we'll plane that off. So that'll be flush against the soap and it'll look really cool when it's done. It looks a little weird right now, but just trust the process. Okay, let me get my handy dandy putter inner things here. And I'm sorry if you can hear my family in the background. It is dinner time. And both my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, my husband and my bonus daughter are out there getting ready to eat. So, which I should probably eat too, but I'm too busy playing with soap. Soap is more fun anyway, I think, sometimes than eating. Let's make this smooch a little cheeky. Let's put it a little sideways. There we go. I like that better. And now that I've seen how much I'm gonna have to cut, I'm gonna cut this down a little bit. I measured these before I poured, but I only had the mold to measure against. Oh Lord, sorry. Okay, there's the X. And let's cut this down a little bit and we'll do the O. And I also made another soap that does something similar to this, but it was in a larger loaf, so I did it sideways. Oop. That wanted to escape. Okay, there we go, good. I actually think I have enough to do 2 X's. Let's see. Because I like the XOXO. I think that's cuter. Tuck another X here. And another O. And I will say this fragrance behaves really nicely. It's set up on me, but not hard. It hasn't separated, no ricing. So I'm very pleased with that. Okay, next writing going in. Okay. I think I'm actually going to tuck all of these in because it's not bad, but it is definitely more set up than it was, which again is not a bad thing because I want to put embeds in it. So I actually like that it's kind of holding on to it a little bit more. But it is definitely well behaved. I can hear my child looking for me, so you guys might have a brief halt in the videoing while I tell my child where I am and ask her to please give mommy just a few more minutes. I don't know if any of you watching have children. She is hands down the #1 coolest thing I've ever done. She is also probably the craziest thing I've ever done, and I adore her with every fiber of my being, but she can be a little wild. All right, we're gonna put our X here and our smooch. Do I like this smooch? I do like this smooch. I like them kind of sideways. There we are. We'll do our O. And I'm just kind of cutting the tops of these off, and what I'll do with them afterwards when I'm done is I will actually end up using them as the top of the soap. So I try really, really hard to not waste anything. Of course, that's, not always possible, but I try really hard to use all the bits and bobs because, I've made it, so it should do something. Interesting. It's like displacing the soap. I don't know if you guys can see that super well on here. Oh my goodness, and my child is being crazy in the background. I'm sorry. Oh Lord. Anyway, yeah, so if you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't have kids, I am both sorry and jealous of you. Because like I said, she is definitely the coolest thing I've ever done, but she is her own fiercely independent little creature. So she can make life a little interesting at times. All right, so now last one. I like this smooch. I like this smooch better. We'll use this smooch again, sideways, because I think that's cute. And we'll do an X here. And an O next to it. To kind of roll that O out, I squished it a little bit because I'm trying to scurry along. And another X. And another O. All right, so that is the love letter one. Oh, Lord. And I've got a couple more of these lips here. So I think what I'll do is I will go ahead and cut a couple up and tuck this in, and then we'll move to our next fragrance before the soap gets too solid. Which I really like the way that looks. That actually reminds me of one of the soap I just made with it, which not with this one, with a different fragrance. I used Pink Peony, I think, actually. So we'll go ahead and tuck those in. You go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. Lots of kisses. Maybe one more smooch. I don't like even numbers in the soap. I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that's a design thing. You guys can tell me in the comments. I wanted to squish it down. I squished the whole thing. That's why you use your pincher. And again, we'll plane all that off. So I don't care if it's a little uneven because it's all going to get planed. So if you don't have a planer, I've done a video on what I use that I love. I've got a couple ones that I use, and I think Brambleberry actually has, of course, quite a few videos on what they like. So in my other soap that I did, I was real careful to do the X's both forwards and backwards because I couldn't control which way you looked at the soap. But in this case, I can control which way you look at the soap. You're going to be looking straight into it. So just putting my little X's and O's on here, just wherever, to try to fill up the space and look interesting and cute. So, and I'm gonna then start on the next one. The next ones aren't gonna be quite so complicated. This one was a lot more in depth than the other ones were. So, all right, should I add on there? I don't really have the room. Okay, so that's that for that one. Let's go to our next one. So our next one we're gonna do is Peony and Amber Wood. So for this one, I wanted to do kind of a darker soap. Because I have a bad tendency to always do things that are really bright colors. And I like bright colors, but I wanted to have something a little less traditionally Valentine's, which I think always tend to be like, you know, pink and white and pastels. And I wanted something a little bit more poppy. So we are going to go ahead and split this into two. And this is a great example of don't be afraid, like if your soap, I don't know if you guys can see that, if it's set up a little bit, just like mix it a little bit. It'll come back. And make sure you mix these guys a little bit so they don't forget that they're supposed to be a liquid still. Not a solid just yet. There we go. Everybody's nice and liquidy. And the other nice thing when you're doing this is you're going to add an oil or a little bit of an oil to these. So all right, so I don't know where that left off, but we are on the next one, which is the Peony and Amber Wood, which I have not added yet. I'm just getting my color mixed in real quick. And what I was simply saying is that don't be afraid, like if you are making a soap, like for me, my recipe, it starts to thicken as it's holding still. That's normal for my recipe. It's not abnormal for it, so I don't get panicked about it. So if you're doing something like I am tonight, where I'm mixing a couple different fragrances and I'm doing things in between each, don't be afraid to, wait and hold on to the color, because just the act of agitating the soap again usually will bring most soaps back, unless you've added the fragrance, and that's a different story. So now we're just going to divide our fragrance here and here. And this says that it discolors to none and it behaves well. So let's mix that fragrance in, and that should also help loosen the soap up more, which is really nice when a fragrance, helps you when you're trying to do something like I am tonight, which, the smart thing to do would have been measure out like 12 little mini batches, or, 4 little mini batches instead of one big batch and hustling. Oh, this smells really good. I liked it in the bottle, but like in the soap, it hits different. It's nice. So this one, I don't have anything super complicated planned. I just kind of want to mix it together. I want to see what it does, and I wanted to add some flowers. So we're just going to add our pink in now, like so. It's a lot of soap dishes for tiny amounts of soap. It's the other reason I don't like doing fragrance testing like this, because it's so messy. There's so many dishes. I hate soap dishes. Pretty sure the rest of you probably hate soap dishes too, at least if you've made soap. If you have not made soap, then you do not know the pain I'm talking about, and I envy you a little bit, because soap dishes are kind of the devil. All right, so now we're just going to give us a quick little mix. That's enough. And for these, I wanted to do, I think, black. I might change my mind. Black and or purple roses. So we're just going to come from the corner and just give it a little wiggle. I'm not afraid to fill these up because I'm not adding embeds. I love a good ITP. It does such nice stuff. Very nice. And we'll do one more, which may not be that much, but it's okay. We'll get out what we can. Actually, can I fit a little bit more in here without muddling up the cool design I just made? Maybe, hopefully. Oh, that's about it. All right. I was thinking maybe if I'd been braver with that love letter one, I could have gotten more in, but it looks like I had it okay. So. And again, the testing note said only 80 or 0.80 for the amount of fragrance. That's all I've used. And I tend to always, for the strong, I tend to always go for strong. You don't need to go for strong every time. And I always go for the strong for two reasons. A lot of it is I'm a little nose blind. And if you don't know what that is, it just basically means I've been making soap long enough and smelling pretty soap. So what ends up happening is I don't smell as well as I used to. So I kind of have to second guess myself. Like, does that smell pretty? Can I smell it? All right, now that I have this in, do I want to do black? Do I want to do the purple? Let's, do I like that? Or do I like that? Or do I like the silver? Let's do the silver ones. Those are kind of nice. So I'll add, I don't have a lot of big, I don't have any big ones at all, I don't think. So we'll just put our corners up here. We'll even give her a little baby one here, a rose. These little tiny baby ones that aren't as big as the other ones, what I'll end up doing with those is I will probably make them, they're usually testers, so I give them to friends at work. Again, hi if you're new, I'm Whitney. And when I'm not obsessively making soap, I'm a pediatric oncology research nurse, which is a lot of words for I try to help kids fight cancer, and I'm trying to help find a cure for cancer, which, you know, childhood cancers are still like the biggest killer of children. So it's definitely something that is worth working on and studying. So that's what I do when I'm not making soap, and I love what I do. I love my job. So these are just some little soap piped leaves that I made the other day because I didn't want to try to do all of these and pipe. I knew that that was probably going to be beyond me, but I did want to have some cute leaves. So here are the little leaves that I have. So we'll just tuck those guys in. I'm trying to pick the same kind of silvery colored ones here. Do a couple little ivy ones down at the bottom. And I actually got the idea to make some in advance and hold on to them from Leela Suds. I'm saying her name, her soap name wrong, her company name. I'm not good at that. I'm very good at reading, but I did not obviously do well with Hooked on Phonics. It did not work for me. So I sometimes will say things wrong, and it's not because I want to be offensive or I've read it. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, so I saw she is a wonderful soap maker and a friend, and she had posted just the leaves. And like, I understood like making the roses ahead of time, but making the leaves ahead of time, like what? Blew my little mind. I am new to piping. I think actually these purple ones, these silvery purple ones you're looking at were like my 5th or 6th time ever piping. It was one of the things I taught myself over my holiday break that I was lucky enough to have. Thank you everyone at work for letting me have a holiday break. And I never had piped before. I didn't, that wasn't something I did in my, my other crafts. Like I always liked baking and I always enjoyed crafting, but for some reason I avoided piping. And a lot of that I think was fear. It looks very intimidating, like these, making these roses, and it just, I don't know, it looks scary. And a lot of it was also, I knew that I would eat whatever I made, and I don't need to eat more things that are going to make more Whitney, because it's already a little bit more Whitney than I'd like there to be. So I tuck these in. And these, they look really fragile. They're actually surprisingly sturdy once you pop them. All right, so that's that one. Let's do our next. So our next one we want to do is gonna be, what do we have here? We have the Dewy Rose. Okay, so this one, again, I wanted to do something a little bit more fun. So I decided to go with dark tones. So I got black and a hot pink. And what do? Behaves well. All right, so we are gonna add this one to the fragrance before I divide it. Or to the pot, I should say, before I divide it out. Because that'll help me soften it. Oh, not you. I don't want you. I want you. So that's our fragrance oil. I could have sworn one of these said it accelerated or it went faster. I'll have to look through again. So I'm just mixing the fragrance in. Again, the soap's been sitting for a minute. My camera keeps turning off on me, so I'm not sure exactly how long it's been, but I don't think it's been past 5-10 minutes or so. So again, if your recipe doesn't have a fragrance in it and it does start to set up, don't be afraid to, add the fragrance to it and then hold back the oils. So you can then, when I say oils, I mean the mica colorant. So I also disperse my mica colorant in an oil because it helps loosen up the batter if I'm doing something like this. So plus it just keeps it from being speckly most of the time. Like I don't know if you see sometimes when people make soap and like they show it and it's really pretty, but like there's speckles, it's because it didn't quite totally incorporate, and I try to avoid that. So we have a very nice hot pink and we have a nice activated charcoal. So we're gonna add these in. And again, this is the Dewy Rose one, and why did I choose this? I did a lot of Valentine specific soaps this year for this time of year. I like, it's funny because as a kid, I hated pink. I hated girly stuff. I hated frills. I was a very tomboyish young lady. And now as an adult, I'm like, I like pink things. I like frilly stuff. I want to be girly. That's what they look like. Aren't they pretty? Okay. All right. So now that I have done that part off camera, good job, Whitney, we are going to do the last one. And the last one I'm going to do in hearts. Just going to take these out of the way and put them over here. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but hopefully you can hear me. All right, so now our last one is this Pink Mimosa. What do? Behaves well. All right, let's test it out. And again, don't be afraid to, you see how solid this is? You add the fragrance oil and just mix it. And again, as long as you know your recipe, and I know this recipe very well, and how to spill fragrance oil down the side of my thumb, and I can get it to loosen right back up again. It's not solid, it's not separating, it's not doing anything naughty, it's just, you've left it alone for a while, it's taking a nap. It's turning into soap. Anyway, so back to fragrances. This is my favorite of all three of them. I love this fragrance. It's exactly in my wheelhouse. It's fruity, it's bright, it's fun, it's kind of flirty. I really like it. So now that we've mixed our fragrance oil in, let's divide out and get our color. And then for this one, I wanted to do, I wanted to kind of make a nod to the fact that, mimosas, and I am that basic girl. I do like mimosas, but I don't like them. Like a lot of people like, give me, haha, like a drop of orange. No, I need my orange juice in there. Like, don't short my orange juice. So I wanted to go with like a corally pink color and then white. So that's what we did because it said Pink Mimosa. Mimosas are orange, but it says pink. So we made it kind of a corally pink color. And again, kind of bright and fun. This is more of the color palette that I've been using for most of this collection. So just making sure all my bottoms down here are really well mixed and grabbing all the pieces that I had poured out. And then for this side, we're just going to do white. Not the most original, but it's just, again, I don't want to be too crazy with my colors and what I'm doing because I don't have a whole bunch of time. I'm running out of time. So we'll go ahead and put you in. Okay. Put you guys over a meal. And this is titanium dioxide and dispersed in some oil from Brambleberry. I really like their titanium dioxide the best because it's oil-based. And I don't like the water-based ones. I've tried a couple different water-based titanium dioxides from different companies, and I come back to Brambleberry's oil-based one every single time. So now I have these cute little hearts, which I've used. A lot of people have seen these for the collection. I really like them. I actually have a little bit of raw soap dough here. Let me just mix you in. Not soap dough, just soap. Okay, I'm gonna get the white mixed in. Another thing with titanium dioxide, if you have not played with it a whole bunch, is it tends to hurry up the batter. So don't depend on that if you really want it to behave. That's not something that I will add to slow things down, so to speak. Okay, get all this in. All right. And again, give it a mix. I love the combination of these two colors next to each other. All right, now we're just gonna, can you guys see? Yes, you can. Can you guys see down here? Yeah, you can see here. Pour this in. Oh my God, I love the way this smells. This is my absolute favorite of this collection. And it behaves so nicely. Oof, yeah, I'm ordering a giant bottle of this like the second I'm off this video. Do I want to use some, let's make some samples. Let's make some samples. Yeah, this is really, it's not, all right, so you know people describe scents for a living, and I talked about how important it is that people describe scents well because like you buy it and you want to like, I am not the person that gets paid to describe scents, and I wish I was, because like that sounds like a cool job, but I'm not very good at it because like scent is memory, right? Like it's one of the last things to go. Music is actually the last thing to go, but scent will transport you places. So if you smell something, you will automatically know what that, where that came from or where that was. You have a memory attached. It's very powerful. Your olfactory and your tongue in general is really amazing. Like a great thought experiment. If you want to do one while we're all sitting here watching me desperately get all this soap into molds and make a mess everywhere. Is your tongue knows what everything is going to feel like. And I know that sounds really weird when I say that, but like, just think of anything. Think about licking the carpet. I know it sounds really gross when I say that, but just hear me out. Think about licking the carpet. Your tongue knows how that feels. Hopefully you've never actually licked the carpet or like licking, a window or whatever. Just name whatever weird thing you want to think of. Your tongue knows what that already is going to feel like. So the same thing happens for scent, right? It's very powerful. It's evocative. It holds on to your memory. So this smells to me like bright ocean, fun happiness, which again, that doesn't make any sense to any of you because you guys didn't grow up in Florida, with your parents drinking mimosas. But it's not like that. it's not alcohol-y at all. It's much brighter and lighter and fun. So I really like it. I am actually going to use the rest of this bottle in what is that batter over there and put that in more hearts because I like it that much. And now we need to put hearts here. So now we're going to add some white hearts to these. So put one here and one here. And all I'm trying to do is the areas where I have more of the coral pink is where I'm trying to put the heart. Just so it helps it with a little bit of pop. And we add 2. Yeah, let's add 2. I did a lot of these type of designs for the upcoming release. And I think it's a nice one. I think it's interesting. And then we'll go ahead and add some leaves. And that concludes my let's hurry up and try to test a bunch of fragrances all at once video. So thank you for watching. I hope that was fun. There isn't really going to be a cut. I will show the planed pictures after I unmold these guys tomorrow. These are all going to go into the oven. What I do is I preheat the oven to 170 degrees. And once it's been preheated, I then turn it off. And I do this like when I walk out there, like when I'm done with making this soap, I will walk out there and there being the kitchen. And I will then turn it on and I'll wait. I'll just wait around, check my phone, check the Instagram. And once it turns on and it's preheated, I then pop it in. Come on, little guy, work with me here. I then pop it in and turn off the oven, and I leave it overnight with the oven light on. That's a huge thing for me for my oven. Now I have friends who are in the challenge club. It's where I learned to do this from, the soap challenge club, and their ovens are different or not as hot or hotter or whatever. This is what works for me, and I pop all my soaps. And you saw I put goat milk in there, and I really I get a little frustrated sometimes because I have people tell like, you can't do that with milk. You have to put it in the fridge and keep it no, you don't. Who made the rules? Like, you do you. Put that thing in the oven, man. Get those colors to pop. So that's what I do. You do have to watch when you're doing that though, if you've got a fragrance oil that has a low flash point. And flash point is just a fancy word for if you get it this hot, you will have no more fragrance. Smell no more. That's what that means. Which all of these have good flash points, so I'm fine. And again, that 170 is pretty low, and I doubt it actually is 170 by the time I put the soap in there. You know, makes sense because like it preheated, and then I open it and I turn it off. And but the oven light is what makes the big difference because it just helps keep the temperature. You don't have to do it this way. You can obviously put it on a heating pad. A lot of people put their they just wrap it up in a towel and they let the heat of the soap itself do its thing. So there's multiple ways to get the same result. Basically, I just want this to not fall into my soap like that, brat. I just want this to go through gel, and that's how I make sure it goes through gel. That's all. So it's not any big secret, but like I said, it is with goat milk. I absolutely do pop it. I do not subscribe to the whole, oh my God, you cannot put goat milk soaps into the oven, let them get too hot because they are going to volcano. Yes, some do. Again, if you know your recipe well, which I do, mine doesn't. Mine behaves really well. Just adding some more leaves since I have a second to play with this. So you guys just get to hear me babble about how it's totally fine to pop goat milk soap. And I'm probably going to get people in the comments like, oh my God, you can't do that. Again, who made y'all boss? Who says? Who made the rule book? Where does it say? Where in the book does it say I cannot do this? You know, like I don't know. I guess also as a nurse, I really tend to question things. So, all right, that's it. I'm done. Thanks for watching.